video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the JND406 Willow herb die, which comes in two parts, to make a beautiful card, to make this beautiful sort of flower here. We're going to make something a little bit more complex than this one, using the garden window and the garden fence die sets as well. So we need to start by making our flowers. So here I've got a piece of apple card, essential card from Crafts 2. You're simply going to stick down your die, and then we've got the little separate die which cuts you out the flowers, and using a little bit of sort of hot pink here, I'm just going to tape that down and I'll run those through my die cutting machine. Now when I do that, I will get these pieces here. So you do need to, for the card I'm making, you need to repeat it twice, but I will get these 4 little flowers here and the simple flower there. So what we want to do is to add a little bit of colour onto the flower. So I'm using Dragon Fruit from the Craft Artist Fusion range, and just take each flower, hold it up and add a little bit of ink around the edges. Just like that, until you've done all 4. On these ones, I'm just adding it along the top. Same here with this one, and I don't bother with the tiny pieces as they're a little bit too small to do. So we've got those flowers done. So now, taking my glue glaze, I'm simply going to add some glue onto each of the flowers. And for the tiny ones, just a little bit on the edge. And don't worry about the glue going over, your glue dries clear. So we simply fit our flowers on top of the green section. You can rotate them if you want to give yourself a little bit of almost like leaves behind it, but for these I think it's right to have them in the right place. So we're taking our flowers just like this, and then for the small ones I'm just using a little pickup tool, and the one that's a little bit like a heart goes onto the end of here, and the one that's like a little sort of semicircle goes onto the end here. They don't have to be exact, they're just there to give that hint of a little flower bud coming through, as you can see there. And for the card that we're making, we need 2 of these. So I've made one here in the same pink, but one in apple green and one in field green. So now we're going to work on the background. So I've started with a piece of white. This is coconut white essential card that has been cut down using the outside die from the garden window set. So I've cut that, and gives me a perfect 4x6 panel. I'm going to take the outline arch from the window. We're going to tape that down, we'll run that through and we'll cut that. And that will give us an aperture just like this one here. What I've actually done is I've already glued this down to a piece of craft card. So I've got a piece of craft card cut to the same size. I'm then going to take the insert die from this. I'm going to tape that down, and I'm going to run that through the die cutting machine, which will give me the window. And all I've done to this is add a piece of acetate. So simply add a piece of acetate onto the back to give you the window. I've added a little bit of foam tape on the back of here just to give it dimension. And I'm going to add it to a piece of decorated paper. So we're looking as if we're looking into a room, so you could use a little bit of wallpaper, create a background, that sort of thing. What I've got here is a little bit of graphic 45 paper, and I'm just going to glue that on top. So we're looking through as if we've got a heart-shaped room. So the next thing I want to do is just mount this onto the card. So I've got a card blank standard size 5x7, and I've matted and layered this already with a piece of pink and then another piece of the craft card, just to balance all of the colours. Obviously you won't see all that pink once it goes on, just that nice little rim, because the size has been cut to 4 1/8 by 6 1/8, and the brown layer is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Right, so, and you can see here I've got a little bit of glue left from my glue, so I'm just going to erase that off and take that off. So we've got really quite a nice little card. What I want to do next is I'm going to do some little pots to go outside of this. So using this time the little window pots, I've cut the largest and the medium size in the pots in this craft card, and I just want to colour those. So again, taking a little bit of Versify in Vintage Sepia, we just colour around the pot. I've done this on lots of the videos because I love this technique, making it heavier on one side. Here's one I did earlier just to work. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to decide on which one's first. So I'm going for the darker green first, and again, little dots of glue. Easiest way to glue this on and not get glue everywhere. You can use a spray glue, but because we're going on to acetate potentially as well, it's better to use a proper glue. And so I'm going to stick that just there, as if that's climbing up the outside. And I'm going to take my larger pot, add a little bit of foam tape onto there, just to give me a little bit of dimension. And we'll add that on as if the flower is growing from the pot. So from the other side, I'm going to use the smaller or the lighter coloured one. And what I want to do is I'm going to snip it just here. So I'm taking off that bottom piece so that I've got a smaller bush. So really easy to snip, and then we just add little dots of glue again. Really simple. And I'm going to glue that one on at the other side, as if we've got two pots outside with one that's a little bit bigger. And again, take the pot, this time it's a slightly smaller pot, so I've used the medium size, a little bit of foam tape onto there, remove that, and then we're just going to pop that on the bottom there and make it look as if there's a smaller bush of the willow herb growing out of there. And we've add sentiment if we want to, or just send that card as it is, but I think it makes an absolutely beautiful little difference of a card to make. Really simple, easy to post.